How you doing?
Okay, I'm just like a little confused because I didn't know that you were like putting together your own resolution. We
Yeah,
were
because
never talked
if
about
your
it.
resolution does not go through,
That's fine. I just wish that you would have like emailed us or told us about
well,
it.
I told you basically in how many different ways that there was no support for your resolution.
We knew that that was going to
Okay,
happen.
so then I have to do something
Yeah.
to deal with the humanitarian crisis. So that's what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know what.
That's fine. I think we were just confused about the logistics of like if you were going to put together your
Oh yeah,
own
we're gonna
resolution. So we
put
were like,
it.
we were just a little
Because
disappointed that we
if
didn't
your
hear
resolution is received in public, there's very little support for it.
Yeah.
Then
I'm a little confused because we had many meetings with councilors and we asked what are the points that are at issue for all of you, and no one really gave us any hardcore
Well, Rivera did. I will say that. Yeah.
but your colleagues.
Yes, but your
see,
colleagues
I
did
don't know
not.
the conversations you have with other council members. There's 9 of us, and sometimes we don't even agree.
Yeah.
And some don't even want to meet. I met with you how many times?
Like, I just want to be clear. Like, I am not being like you're not doing enough. I'm just asking like, why weren't we more in touch? Like
Well,
were,
we had
you
our
know?
last meeting, and
Yeah.
when we left, you said we're going to file it.
Yeah.
So you filed it.
Okay.
So that's where it was left.
Do we have the opportunity to see the resolution before?
It'll be on the record. We'll file it with the clerk's office.
So we
and-
can't like have a meeting to talk about it beforehand.
No. This is for the councils. This is the council's resolution.
So, are you gonna, this is what I like to hope, because I know that Rabbi Gutman was just asking, and so was Larry Rubin, about could they see something, or could they do something?
Everybody
So-
will see it because it'll be filed with the clerk's office. Once it's filed with the clerk's office, everybody has access to it.
So how might your resolution be different from the resolution we
It won't
presented?
contain many of the whereases and conditions that was set by the group that put yours together.
Will it,
Pardon me?
What will it contain?
Well, that's something that the common council will have to agree to, whatever's in the resolution.
Okay.
9 members of the common council will have to agree to it, or the majority of the common council will have to agree to it.
If you're putting it forward, would you be more aware of what the contents of it are as the person moving it forward?
I really would have to spend some time, be very careful. It's very sensitive to all the communities involved in the street. It's going to deal primarily with the humanitarian crisis that's going on.
yes,
People not.
please,
It's going to deal primarily with it.
that's what we need.
Can I just say, I think that where I'm just being vulnerable, like where I'm feeling about this is like, I know we've both spent so much time on these points and going back and forth and discussing this, and I know that we were like, all right, we're still going to push forward, even though that we know that you rightfully said, I don't think that this is going to get support. I think that just where we're at is like, why can't we be a part of the discussion for this next one? Because we know that we've been so dedicated and we've been working so hard, like going by like the council procedures and all this stuff.
Consideration, you certainly consider some of the things that you supported. Not all of them. Like I said, it's going to deal primarily with humanitarian crisis, making sure.
Can I also get confirmation? Are other community members allowed to be a part of that discussion?
No, this is just the common
It's
council.
just going to be common council. So like no, I'm sorry.
I mean, we've
But
already
like
heard you.
no
I mean,
other
this is part of the
no
process.
other community members are allowed to be a
No,
part
no,
of the discussion.
no.
Because that's what I was gonna,
They're like Rochester's resolution.
We have Rochester's resolution.
Okay.
Right.
They have very
Yes.
There's
similar
another
demands
one,
to
Gabrielle
ours.
gave
another
it.
resolution that came out as well, besides Rochester.
Excuse me.
if it could, yeah.
Rochester is the most latest, so they have more context, and their demands are extremely similar to ours.
No, that's not the one. I think it might be Albany, maybe. perhaps?
So Albany's was written in January. That was like they don't have the most updated related information. Whereas Rochester's resolution was passed very recently,
Yeah.
and theirs does. And we also have members that we're connected to on the resolution who would like to talk to you guys.
We have all the resolutions that were passed, and then I'll have to confer with the other council members to have enough support on the common council. I'm only one of 9.
And I'm also.
I'm the one that, certainly want to give you guys an audience to speak.
Yeah, no.
And I'm
and we
glad,
wanna-
because this is
again,
part of the process.
Yeah.
This is part of the process where you are allowed to speak, which I support. Whether we agree or not, I support your right to come here and
And I
speak.
think we're all in understanding that that couldn't have happened
Yeah.
without you speaking up at that meeting.
So I want to thank you for that part, and I also want to ask, is it possible to just send, to the people who spoke, for example, or to the people in your district who are on either side of it, just to send it for input, not for,
Once we file it with the clerk's office, then we can send it out.
then you can send
Are
it
we
out.
gonna
for
have
still
another
input?
opportunity to speak like we did
No,
today?
no. Once we,
Could we have some opportunity for
if
input?
it has council support, when it comes from the council, if I get 8 other council members to support it,
I guess my issue is like, I'm just kind of confused in the process. Are like you drafting something and then going to the other members of the common council and say, let's support this, or is everybody
we're
drafting
gonna
it together?
talk to certain council members, see, how do you feel about this resolution? Would you accept the language?
And by
in
this resolution, you the one that
the
we drafted?
resolution that we're proposing, that I'm gonna be proposing?
Okay.
And are there things that you're agreeable with, or things that you're not? Because sometimes they go, I don't agree with the language. I don't agree with this part of it. So it's a long process. Anytime you have legislation, they can get into the ifs and the buts and everything else, so.
And are they then going to have the opportunity to add things that may not be
If they,
in the
if they wanted to add things, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They can add, they can say, oh, I don't agree with that.
But ultimately, everyone has to agree,
Right.
even if they do add something.
Can I ask very specifically? I'm hearing two different things. I'm hearing that like public will be able to put in input when
We-
there's a, what does that mean? 'Cause
The
if you
public
can't speak
input
on it.
portion of it was what you did today.
But not on your resolution, not
On my
ours.
resolution, the meetings that we had, what was said in council chambers today, what the council members feel comfortable with, those are things that we raised.
I guess we were under the impression that there would be some sort of like
Back and forth.
yeah, and that
Yeah.
doesn't seem
No, I mean, we tried back and forth. That's why I asked you to meet with respective council members,
Which we did.
which you did.
But now, I think that what we're asking for is, on this new resolution, which is, not gonna include most of the things that we have, that we stand really hard on. I think that frankly, what I'm worried about is that there's gonna be a new resolution passed with stuff that is actually not representative of what we wanted, but then it gets passed and it's like, well, this is what, that this is what the community wanted, even though we don't get to actually directly speak on what that resolution said.
At this point,
I guess what I'm asking is like, can we send letters?
the resolution
like,
that you had was sent without recommendation to the full council. So, at Tuesday's meeting, it either get approved or we get received and filed.
So it's gonna be at this Tuesday's meeting?
It'll
and
be
this
at our
is
next
when-
council meeting.
Okay.
It'll get either approved or received and filed. Received and filed means it goes away.
Yes.
That's why I propose to have, in case that one fails, I have my resolution. Because
Which
this,
will be introduced and discussed at the
which will be filed with the clerk's office.
Wild Clerk's office this
And
Thursday.
it'll be, it'll come up in front of the Common Council's caucus meeting, which is before our council meeting. And we'll see where the council members are, if there's some concerns, or somebody say, no, I'm voting negative, I'm not gonna, some might just say, I can't support it.
And
When
if,
would
the
caucus meeting be?
Monday.
Monday?
Yeah, and that's for the Common Council. We talk about items that are gonna be going, actually it's Monday, that goes before the full council on Tuesday.
And if this revised version comes before you all at the caucus group and not enough of your colleagues support it, what will happen then?
Then there isn't support for it.
So
If
the one
if the one I sponsor doesn't have the support of 5 council members, then it won't pass.
I guess to follow up to give with Angela's stuff, like, is there a place where we can send letters, like communicate to the council? Because this
You
resolution
can
that
always,
we
you can
drafted does have
continue,
community support.
to send letters to the council members. You continue to talk to them. It's up to you, and certainly up to the common council members whether or not they'll agree to a meeting. There's nothing, some people meet with me all the time. I mean, I make myself accessible, so, but like I said,
Again, while you are writing your resolution, I'm going to encourage you to look into Rochester. Rochester is a city that's very similar to ours. It's right there, and they have very similar demands as ours. We
yeah,
keep
but
hearing
there wasn't support for that, for
So-
the demands you had.
When
No,
is it-
I'm
For
saying
Rochester.
If
I'm
it's
saying-
similar to the Rochester and the demands they made, those were the ones that the council members perhaps had.
I'm guessing that people haven't. We sent the Rochester resolution as a supporting document multiple times, and I'm guessing that people on the council haven't looked at it. To be
They
honest,
have, I know my staff has looked at it.
Okay.
They looked at that one and they looked at the other ones as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, when do you think that what you're writing is going to be ready? Roundabout, just roundabout.
Oh my goodness.
Your best
I'd like
guess.
to get it in by the end
No
of the week.
promises.
Yeah, Thursday.
By the end of the week.
It sounds like you have plans for it to be filed by the deadline, which we know is this Thursday at like 4 p.m. Yeah, 2 p.m. Yeah.
So I'd like to get it in. It depends on the staff and the council members. I want to make sure I have enough votes. Because if I don't have votes and I send it in and they vote it down, I said maybe I sent it in too soon. It didn't have enough support. I have to develop support.
Is there anything we can do in partnership with you to develop that support?
Well, one is you may not agree with that I don't include many of the demands that you made. So, I mean, so I don't know if you would support something like that, but I'd be glad to have your support. Well, you know where we stand. We've had our meetings, our conversations, and I've been upfront and transparent with how I felt
Yes.
and what I thought, so.
Yeah, we understand it does come down to the votes. I think I would encourage also all the council members to also think about the coming years and the votes of your constituents who are strongly, either in voicing their opinions about this matter and feel like they're not being heard. I think that's going to really reflect in a couple years down the line when it's time to re-elect everyone again.
I mean,
And I just mean that as just-
every
that's just the
council
way-
member is, you know, I can't speak for every council member, what drives them to make their decisions.
I would hope
If
it's
they
the
worry
people.
about elections or not. Some don't really worry about it. They said it's not gonna impact me.
But there are people
It's not a
elected
matter
seats,
of
so I
worry
don't-
about elections, it's about sometimes just doing the right thing. It's not a matter of, because I can make the right decision and lose an election. I mean, I can make all the right decisions and still lose an election because people are not happy with it. So it all depends on, doing the right thing, regardless if you have
Always
people's
the
support
right
or not,
thing.
always the right thing.
Right.
All right,
Thank
so.
you.
And I mean,
Thank
we
you
hope
for
you'll
your
do the
time.
right
You're
thing.
welcome.
Yeah, we
You're
really
welcome.